Unhappily, on 9th October, 18 days after the delivery of my address of the General Assembly, 3 police outposts were attacked by armed Muslim groups. There were further attacks on 11th October and resulted in loss of lives, injuries, burning of villages, and the displacement of peoples in the affected areas. Many Muslims fled to Bangladesh. Since then, the government has been making every effort to restore peace and stability and to promote harmony between the Muslim and Rakhine communities. Even before these outbreaks took place, we had established a central committee for rule of law and development in the Rakhine and invited Dr. Kofi Annan to lead a commission that would help us to resolve the long-standing problems of that state. But in spite of all these efforts, we were not able to prevent the conflicts from taking place. Still, throughout the last year, we have continued with our program of development and the establishment of peace and harmony. After several months of seemingly quiet and peace, on the 25th of August, 30 police outposts, as well as the regimental headquarters in Downdanza village, were attacked by armed groups. Consequent to these attacks, the government declared the Arakan Rohingya Salvation Army and its supporters responsible for acts of terrorism as a terrorist group in accordance with the Counter-Terrorism Law, Section 6, Subsection 5. There has been much concern around the world with regard to the situation in Rakhine. It is not the intention of the Myanmar government to apportion blame or to abnegate responsibility. We condemn all human rights violations and unlawful violence. We are committed to the restoration of peace, stability, and rule of law throughout the state. The security forces have been instructed to adhere strictly to the Code of Conduct in carrying out security operations, to exercise all due restraint, and to take full measures to avoid collateral damage and the harming of innocent civilians. Human rights violations and all other acts that impair stability and harmony and undermine the rule of law will be addressed in accordance with strict norms of justice. We feel deeply for the suffering of all the people who have been caught up in the conflict. Those who have had to flee their homes are many, not just Muslims and Rakhines, but also small minority groups such as the Daina, Maro, Tep, Maramaji, and Hindus, of whose presence most of the world is totally unaware. Humanitarian assistance was provided to displaced communities by a team led by the Minister of Social Welfare, Relief and Resettlement from 27th August onwards. Details of humanitarian programs, assistance programs will be made available to all our guests in due course. The final report of the Advisory Commission on Rakhine State, chaired by Dr. Kofi Annan, in fact, the very day on which the last round of attacks took place. We are determined to implement the recommendations of those of the Commission, those recommendations that will bring speedy improvement to the situation within a short frame of time will be given priority. Other recommendations we will have to take time over, but every single recommendation that will benefit peace and harmony and development in the Rakhine State will be implemented within the shortest time possible. The government is working to restore the situation to normalcy. Since the 5th of September, there have been no armed clashes and there have been no clearance operations. Nevertheless, we are concerned to hear that numbers of Muslims are fleeing across the border to Bangladesh. We want to find out why this exodus is happening. We would like to talk to those who have fled as well as to those who have stayed. I think it is very little known that the great majority of Muslims in the Rakhine State have not joined the exodus. More than 50% of the villages of Muslims are intact. They are as they were before the attacks took place. And we would like to know why. This is what I think we have to work towards, not just looking at the problems, but also looking at